Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to everyone that is viewing this video. I am Philip W. and I am back with another video. It's been a while since, I even did a video or even talked to you guys, but I actually wanted to make this video today, just to talk about something very, very serious that had recently happened to me in my younger years. This was a story that I actually kept to myself for a very, very long time because I didn't want nobody to think that I was crazy or to think that I was a psycho or to think that I needed to be examined or just like anything like that. But I just feel that now is the right time to come forward. I would say, 7 years later? Because I think it's been 7 years since this situation occurred. So, the story that I want to tell you guys is that back when I was in high school, I would say this was around 2009. I remember it like it was yesterday because I had 3 friends, which was Rico, Rodney, and Jason. And we were all seniors in high school. Well, no. Me and Rico were seniors. Yeah, me, Rico, and Rodney were seniors. Jason was a junior. And we used to run the streets together. And just to make a long story short, we just wanted to go ghost hunting or whatnot, and we wanted to basically go around and see if we could find haunted houses and other type stuff just to see if we could really see a real ghost. And I have to tell you guys that it was literally the worst mistake that I ever made in my life because I actually saw a ghost, like with my own 2 eyes. And it was a really scary experience for me because that was something that I never experienced before. It was in February of 2009. It was senior year. And I wasn't driving yet, but Rico was driving. He was the only one that had a car. And we went on another side of town and we were basically just driving around. And we came up on this weird looking house. It had a no trespassing sign on it, and you could just tell just by looking at the house. You could just tell that it looked very ancient and it looked very old, and it looked like people haven't lived in it for years. The grass was tall, and it just was just a bit uncanny to me that the house was still there, because I would have thought that maybe they would have, the state or the city would have taken the house down. It didn't even have a for sale sign up there. And I remember getting out of the car. I was wearing a blue coat at the time, and I remember having braids in my hair. And because at first I was going to stay in the car, but my friends wanted me to get out of the car because they just wanted me to just have this exciting experience with them. I didn't even want to get out of the car. But then all 3 of my friends, they walked up to the house and they were looking into the windows and they were just looking just to see like what was going on. I was standing by the car and I remember I was looking down at my phone, and I remember feeling a certain presence behind me, and I remember turning around and there was a guy that was walking past me because we were kind of like on the side of the street because the house didn't necessarily have a driveway, so we had to park on the side of the sidewalk. And I remember standing on the side of the sidewalk, and there was a man. It was a Caucasian man. He was really tall. He was about maybe 6'1", 6'2". He had long, straggly hair. He had a pointy nose, and he looked like he was about maybe in his 60s or 70s. And I remember him walking past me, and he said, um, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Oh, I'm just hanging out with a couple friends of mine." And then he gave me this really strange and stern look. Like, he gave me this real stern look, and he looked dead in my eyes, and he says, "If I were you, I would get away from this house." He says, "You don't want to be here." And I just looked up at him. I was just like, okay. So then I heard one of my friends call my name, and I turned around like that, and then they was just like, "Well, Philip, are you coming up here?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." I turned back around, and the man was gone. So I stood there, and I was a bit stunned. I just looked for a minute. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, now I know I'm not crazy. I just seen someone standing there. So I asked Rico, I said, "Hey, did you see a dude just standing there talking to me just now?" And Rico looked at me, and he was like, "Philip, what are you talking about? There's nobody there." And I'm just like, wait a minute. I'm like, no, I'm not crazy. I was just talking to someone, and they were like, "Are you feeling okay?" So then I just kind of let it slide. I let it go. It just really creeped me out. And I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to disappoint my friends, and I didn't want them to get mad at me. And so we was basically looking at the house and everything, and the door was kind of like halfway broken. And I remember standing in the hallway of the house, and it was starting to get dark. It was like around 5 o'clock in the evening. Because usually in the winter, like up here within the state of Indiana, it usually gets dark like between 6 and 7. It gets dark really early. And I remember standing in the hallway, and I was waiting for my friends to come back downstairs, but they didn't come back downstairs. And then I'm just like, okay, I know they didn't just leave me in this house by myself. So then I turned around, I walked back down the hallway, and I tried turning the doorknob, and the doorknob didn't open. So then I'm just like, okay, well, let me turn it the other way. And I kept turning it different types of ways, and the knob did not open. I mean, the knob didn't turn, and the door did not open. So then I was really starting to get freaked out. Keep in mind, I was in high school. I was really, really young and stupid during the time. So I was just like, why is this door not turning? And I stood there, going at this door. And then all of a sudden, I hear footsteps. Like, just really slow footsteps. Like, just walking. It was just... I just heard footsteps, and then I heard, like, in the distance, like, I heard like little screams, like people screaming, but then I couldn't really make out what it was. And then all of a sudden I heard like these chains dragging down the hallway. It sounded like somebody had on these boots. And the hallway was really dark, so I start yelling for my friends, and nobody answered. And at this point, I'm just trying to think of what way I can get out of this house. And, I start getting emotional, I start crying, I start getting scared because I don't know what's about to happen. I'm thinking, oh my God, like there's somebody in this house that's about to kill me. And I just remember like just hearing these chains dragging down the hallway, and just trying to gather myself because this is really hard to talk about. It was a dark hallway, and I ended up seeing a really cloudy, shadowy figure. And then all of a sudden it got really cold in the house. Like, it got like freezing cold. Like to where I could see my breath. and I started feeling nauseous, and the energy like just felt really weird. You know, I felt like I was being watched, and then I just seen this figure coming towards me, and I could tell that it was not a human figure. It did not look like it was something that was modern and present. The clothes that he had on, it looked like it was clothes from back in, I would say, maybe the 1800s or something, 1700s. And I tried to make out what his face looked like, and the closer that he got to me, it almost seemed like he was going in slow motion. It was almost as if he wasn't walking normally. It was almost as if he was like gliding to me, and that really freaked me out. I'm trying to get this door open, and I'm looking at this dude coming at me with a freaking long chain. It looked like some kind of whip chain, and he's literally dragging it down the hallway. And so I just took something, I threw it through a window, you know, and by the time I had got through the window, he had caught up to me, and I just turned around and I literally just came face to face. And let me tell you, it was the most scariest thing I had seen in my life. Like it was like his face was just really disfigured. He did not look human, and it was just a really terrifying experience. And I jumped out of the window and I just ran. I just literally ran. You know, I didn't even look back. I just kept running. I got back to the car and my friends were standing there. And, you know, my friends was like, dude, we were waiting for you for hours to come outside. I said, what do you mean hours? You know, and they said, dude, it literally took you like a whole hour to come out of the house, and we're standing there waiting for you to come out, you know. And it just really freaked me out, because it felt like an eternity that I was in that house, you know. And just the whole atmosphere of it just felt really weird. And it was crazy. It was really crazy. And that's just a situation that I would never forget. That is something that I will never forget that ever happened. You know, that's something that you just don't forget about. There's people that's always saying that, you know, ghosts are not real and all this other stuff, but clearly they are real. The first time, that wasn't my first time seeing a ghost encounter. The first time that actually happened to me was, I think I was about maybe 7 or 8 years old. Like, I thought that I had saw like something, like one of my family members like talking to me or something. But that's a very, very vivid image. But so I don't really count that as a ghost experience, but I just can't believe that that's something that happened. You know, like you know, even like 7 years later, talking about this, it's still scary. I ended up doing research on the house, and I found out that the house had slaves in it from many, many years ago, and that there was a slave owner that had kept slaves in the house. And apparently all the slaves ended up dying because a candle had got knocked over, and they ended up dying in the fire, which explains why the house was that beat up looking. You know, um, that may also explain why I heard chains down the hallway, and why I saw a weird figure of a man walking down the hallway, with a face that didn't even look normal. That's just something serious that, you just don't ever get over. It took me a long time to get over that. So, anybody out there that doesn't believe in spirits and ghosts and all that, I just want people to know that there is other things out there. Just because it's never happened to you, it doesn't mean that it's not true. I know that there's a lot of things that's blown up, and it's a lot of things that is untrue. It's a lot of fantasy things that are told that's not true, but I just feel that people should at least try to be a little more open-minded, but that's just my story, and that's just my story that I had to tell everyone. So other than that, if you guys have any comments, please comment and let me know what you guys think about this. And that's all I have for you guys today. So I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.